Important developments are emerging from the Dnipropetrovsk direction, where Ukrainian forces have decisively shifted the momentum on the battlefield. After weeks of sustained counterattacks, Ukraine is now capturing ground faster than Russia, liberating hundreds of square kilometers and pushing Russian forces to the verge of being expelled from the region entirely. Background: how Russia got into Dnipropetrovsk in the first place. To understand the significance of Ukraine's gains, it is important to understand how Russian forces entered the region to begin with. In June 2025, Russia re-entered Dnipropetrovsk Oblast from the Sinelnikove Rayon direction as part of the Novopavlivka offensive. By late July 2025, Russian forces had captured the settlements of Malivka and Dakhne. Moscow's goal was clear: to push beyond Donbass and establish what it described as a buffer zone deep inside Ukrainian territory, setting the stage for a planned spring offensive in 2026. The Russian push into Dnipropetrovsk Oblast aimed to create a strategic buffer, part of its broader effort to expand control near the front lines in eastern and southern Ukraine. For months, Ukrainian forces absorbed the pressure while preparing a coordinated response. The counteroffensive begins January to February 2026. Beginning on February 11, 2026, Ukrainian forces launched a counteroffensive in the border area of Dnipropetrovsk and Zaporizhzhia oblasts, conducting localized counterattacks and reclaiming over 400 kilometers of territory as the operation continued through February and March 2026. The offensive in the Oleksandrivsky direction was carried out by airborne assault and assault troops, with the support of mechanized brigades already defending the sector. According to Major General Oleksandr Komarenko, head of the main operational directorate of Ukraine's General Staff, this was a planned offensive operation that passed all the procedures of approval and coordination. The results were immediate and striking. In February 2026, for the first time since the Kursk offensive operation, Ukraine's defense forces restored control over more territory than the enemy was able to capture. This was a watershed moment. The first time in nearly 2 years that Russia was suffering net territorial losses inside Ukraine. Phase 1. Breaking the outer Russian defensive layer. The offensive itself unfolded in clearly structured phases. The first stage focused on breaking the outer layer of Russian positions. Ukrainian assault units, including air assault forces supported by mechanized brigades, confirmed the clearing and liberation of key settlements including Terniv, with this early breakthrough destabilizing nearby Russian positions and exposing them to direct attacks. In Borisova, Ukrainian forces established control over the northern part of the settlement, gradually pushing Russian units back while maintaining constant pressure through infantry assaults supported by drones. Simultaneously, a parallel push cleared Kalanka, which became a critical foothold, allowing Ukrainian forces to prepare for deeper penetrations into Russian-held territory. Phase 2. Exploiting momentum with rapid advances. The second phase exploited this momentum with rapid advances beyond Kalanka into surrounding villages. Ukrainian units pushed further south, creating a cascading effect across the Russian defensive line. The maneuver effectively outflanked several Russian positions, placing them at risk of encirclement. This phase demonstrated a high level of coordination between mechanized assault groups and drone units. Fighting quickly turned into intense close-quarters combat, with Ukrainian infantry systematically clearing buildings one by one. Drone reconnaissance identified Russian positions, while FPV drones targeted fortified houses, forcing defenders into the open where they were either captured or eliminated. Despite Russian attempts to reinforce the area, Ukrainian drone strikes prevented resupply and maintained the operational tempo. Footage from the area confirmed Ukrainian infantry fighting vehicles operating inside settlements, signaling not just raids, but sustained control efforts. The numbers, scale of Ukrainian gains. The territorial results have been significant and verified by multiple sources. Ukrainian forces liberated 9 settlements in the Oleksandrivka frontline sector and eliminated over 2,600 Russian troops during an operation that lasted roughly 2 months. During the operation, Ukrainian forces regained about 440 square kilometers of territory, liberating 7 settlements in Dnipropetrovsk Oblast and 2 in Zaporizhzhia Oblast. Ukraine's commander-in-chief Oleksandr Syrsky stated that Ukrainian forces regained approximately 480 square kilometers and liberated 12 settlements in the counteroffensive overall. To put that in perspective, that is an area roughly the size of the city of Denver, Colorado. Over the month of February alone, the Air Assault Forces grouping restored control over 285.6 km on the Oleksandrivka axis. Strategic impact: disrupting Russia's spring offensive. The significance of Ukraine's gains extends well beyond the territory itself. The Institute for the Study of War stated in its assessment dated March 9th that Ukrainian counterattacks are producing tactical, operational, and strategic repercussions that could disrupt Russia's planned spring and summer 2026 offensive. Although Russian forces remain nearly 3 times more numerous, Ukraine's active operations have forced them to postpone planned offensives, patch holes in their defenses, and redeploy troops from other sectors. Addressing the British Parliament on March 17th, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky stated that over the past 30 days, Ukrainian forces had recaptured more territory than Russia had seized, and that Russia's planned spring offensive had already effectively failed before it could begin. The situation on the ground today. According to Major General Komarenko, Ukrainian forces still need to complete operations in 3 small settlements in the Dnipropetrovsk region and conduct clearing operations in 2 others. The region is approaching full liberation. According to military analyst Emil Kastahelmi of the Finland-based Blackbird Group, the operation appears aimed at improving Ukraine's tactical position and stabilizing the front line. Once they cleanse the remaining areas of Russian troops, they will likely try to solidify the line to the best of their abilities, he said. Russian attempts to infiltrate through gray zones have repeatedly failed, suggesting a loss of tactical flexibility and confirming that the initiative has shifted firmly to Ukraine's side. Conclusion: a turning point at a critical moment. Taken together, these developments illustrate how Ukrainian forces are no longer limited to defensive containment, but are actively dictating the tempo of operations. The Institute for the Study of War noted that Ukrainian forces liberated more territory than they lost during the last 2 weeks of February 2026, marking their first net territorial gains since the summer counteroffensive of 2023. This came at a critical moment, just before Russia was expected to launch its spring offensives, forcing Moscow to step back and rebuild defenses instead of pushing forward. With Russian forces now on the verge of being pushed out of Dnipropetrovsk entirely after losing hundreds of square kilometers in just a few weeks, what began as a localized Ukrainian breakthrough is rapidly approaching a decisive strategic conclusion. Want to stay updated on the latest developments from the front line? Subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell so you never miss a critical update. If you found this analysis valuable, like this video and share it. Every share helps us bring these stories to more people who need to know what is really happening on the ground.